Hello and welcome to our first ever Ask Me Anything session. It's quite a mouthful. My name is Jenny and I'm the Learning Coordinator here for Birmingham Contemporary Music Group. These Ask Me Anything sessions are particularly useful for those young people and children working towards their Arts Award Explore. In today's session, we'll be interviewing saxophonist and BCMG's learning musician, Naomi Sullivan, about her work with BCMG. We hope you enjoy. When did you start to play the saxophone and how long have you played for?
That's a good question. So I started playing the saxophone when I was in year 9. So I would have been about 13. So that would be, I'm going to say 25 years, but my maths is really bad. So it's approximately 25 years.
Is that a quarter of a century?
Yes, thank you, Jenny.
So that's amazing. Brilliant. What a great thing to be doing with all that time. Okay, next question. Why did you choose to play the saxophone?
Because it looks cool, and I had a babysitter called Becky, and she was really cool and played Michael Jackson and stuff like that, and I wasn't. I played the flute and like listening to Evelyn Glennie, which is I still think is fantastic, but she was really great, and we'd swap instrument, and the saxophone looked better and sounded louder, therefore I had to choose that one.
The more dominating instrument of the space, get it. But you were just saying that you played flute first, is that correct?
Yeah, so I started, like many people, started on the recorder and kept going with recorder for a long, long time. Then I started playing the flute, and then I did play trombone and lots and lots of different instruments, but the saxophone was my absolute favourite, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So this is a really interesting question, actually. It's very deep. So what inspired you to become a musician?
I suppose there's nothing, it was never anything else I didn't want to do. And music, for me, it's just like an old friend, so it's always there. So it's just, it wasn't anything, music inspired me to try to be a musician, really, I think. Is that too deep an answer, Jenny?
No, I think that's great. So it was definitely more like an intrinsic. Does that brilliant? No, I think that's great. Next question is in a similar vein. So have you always wanted to be a musician? And if so, why? So you've kind of said why already, but has it always been the case for you?
Yeah, I think so. When I was at school, there was this thing that you could do, like a career advising thing, and they go through all the things, and they said that I should be like a funeral director. And that didn't really
Oh,
grab me,
wow.
even though my father was a vicar, and I was quite used to the whole, no, it wasn't for me. I did desperately want to be a paramedic. Because I used to love watching Casualty, still do, but we don't admit to that often. All the driving and whatnot, I don't think, yeah. So, yeah, music was just what I liked doing most, and I think what I was okay at. And when you're good at something, it's kind of fun. So,
Yeah, follow through with it. Brilliant. Okay. So what is your favourite type of music to play and why?
any chamber music, any music I get to play with my friends and colleagues is my favourite sort. I do little bits of solo playing, but for me, music's about listening and communicating more than being looked at, so that's chamber music of any kind, pretty much, not really ABBA medley, so.
Okay, have you had some negative experiences with ABBA medleys?
Yeah, as a saxophonist, there's many routes you can go down.
Some ABBA flashbacks for you. Sorry about that. Okay. What about this one? And again, another deep question. Why do you enjoy music?
Extremely good questions. Why do I enjoy music? I think because when it goes well, when it's right, it's the best feeling in the world. Often, a lot of the time, it's a real struggle, but and lots of, some people say, well, it must be wonderful being a musician, and I think, yeah, but the reality is can be really, really tough. But once something goes right, it's amazing. and you have your family, and then you have this whole other family all around the world of other musicians. And for me, that's really, really cool. Yeah.
That was a lovely answer. Okay, moving on then. So, do you play any other instruments, and if so, what are they? So we've already mentioned that you played flute and recorder and trombone. Is there anything outside of the wind instruments sort of space?
I don't play any other instruments terribly well, but I am a bit of a collector of, like, I've got ocarinas, I've got an English concertina somewhere, I tidied it away. And yes, played in brass bands growing up. For a while I tried to play viol di gamba. That's really hard. I really wanted to play the cello because then I'd be sophisticated, but that didn't work out either. A bit of clarinet, but no, nothing else really.
With can you maybe explain what a viol di gamba is?
I'm no expert, but so I played recorder a lot, and then baroque flute for a bit, a plastic horse one, and then we'd go on these early music courses. And the viol di gambas, I think it's from the cello family, guitar family, and it's like gamba is leg, so you hold it between your legs, and then you hold the bow kind of almost like you hold it upside down or something. It's messing with my lefts and rights. A really delicate sounding string instrument, quite beautiful actually. Yeah.
Lovely. I want to have a go on one of those now. I always wanted to play cello. If I hadn't played the oboe, I think cello would have been the instrument I'd have gone for. There's just something about it, just powerful and beautiful as well, sonorous. Okay. Yeah. So, if you had to choose another career, what would it be?
I've thought about this a lot. Oh, there's many. I'd like to be someone who explores waterfalls by climbing up the back of them to collect data. Is one of them. Obviously a paramedic, but I've gone off that idea. Oh, a tree surgeon. I'd love to be a tree surgeon.
Really? Tree surgery, forestry? Is there any particular reason why? It's just being out and about in the great outdoors?
Yeah, I like... This just probably sounds a bit odd, but I really love like burning stuff, not just, but like, you know, like the energy. So something like that I would really enjoy doing. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to move on to some questions about your time working with BCMG on our learning projects. So this is the first one here. When did you start to work with BCMG?
For the learning projects, it was, I think, maybe a year or so ago. Not that long.
Brilliant. Sorry. Okay, and what's it like to work with BCMG?
It's fantastic. It's really inspiring, and it's a real privilege. And it's not easy work, but it's hard work in the best possible way.
Okay. What do you find challenging about it, do you think? What are the... Yeah, because there are definitely some challenges on workshop day. What are some of the things that you have to tackle?
I was thinking about this. It's a two-part thing, really. So often the Sunday morning ones start at 9 AM, and I live in Crystal Palace, right down the bottom side of South London. And so I have to get the 6 AM coach, which means leaving home at 4:30. So wow. That's a challenge, a real challenge, because I'm not the best in the morning. The other challenge is often, if we're working with young composers, they'll write it out in like concert pitch for a C instrument, but my saxophone, it's in E flat. So I'm not brilliant at getting up early or transposing or sight reading. So for me, they're the main challenges.
And it's the combination of the two things coming together, isn't it? Obviously. Wow. I'm so lucky to play an instrument that is at concert pitch. The idea of doing spontaneous transposition really scrambles my brain quite considerably. So well done you. Okay. So what about this one? What is your role with Birmingham Contemporary Music Group?
Right, just working for you, Jenny, with David Horn and Nancy Evans for Zigzag and Music Maze, and sort of helping younger musicians be creative, I suppose. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And you've already said how long you've been working the role, and you were saying that's probably about a year or so. Is that right? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, great. Okay. before working with BCMG, what has your career route been like?
I've just been very lucky. I think I've just lucked out. So I did went to a music school, especially for music, called Chetham's, and then I went to Royal College of Music, and then I went to Northwestern University in Chicago, which was brilliant. And I spent far too much money and had far too much fun. And then I came back to London, and I was doing some teaching. I was ever so difficult at that time, just not much work. And then my old teacher from college started an ensemble called Flotilla, which is about like lots of boats moving together, but it wasn't about boats, it was saxophones. And he works a lot with BCMG. He's called Kyle Horch. And then he got me to play in a piece that BCMG were playing in 2007. So I actually got to perform. So I was really lucky with that.
What piece was that?
I looked it up. It was called No Let Up by Turnage. Really super piece.
Fantastic. Okay, we're on question number 15. We're absolutely sailing through these, some really fantastic answers. So, question 15. What do you do as part of your role with BCMG? Can you maybe sort of frame it in a beautiful bow?
Oh, that's difficult. So I think what I do is I listen and learn, and then try and share ideas by playing and teaching by example, I think.
Definitely. And that's so I think it's 3, maybe even 4 sorts of workshops you've been involved with. So there's Music Maze, which is for our younger participants. Then there's Zigzag, which is maybe more improvisation-y, I would say, arguably. And then have you ever done the Creative Composing Lab workshops with us? ECL, and that's with David. And have you been involved with the Listen, Imagine, Compose project at all either?
Yes, yeah.
Brilliant. So you're doing it's sort of varying degrees of what you were saying according to the different projects and the different sort of young people you're working with.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jenny.
I was sort of pondering on it myself. So okay. So what do you enjoy most about your role with BCMG?
Yeah, for me that's very easy, because it's definitely the people that running it, all the organisation, all the musicians. It's absolute privilege to be a part of, for sure.
Oh, that's such a lovely thing to hear. Thank you so much. Not saying it's all about me, of course. Okay, brilliant. What do you find the most challenging about your job at BCMG? So we've actually kind of covered this already. This was talking about the very, very early starts and the spontaneous transposition as well. Is there anything else at all that you maybe find difficult or challenging?
Yeah, for me, I find it really difficult keeping up with the other musicians. The incredible flautist cellists that I've worked with, and just keeping up with everyone else when they start reading, transposing, or improvising. It really is, that's a real challenge for me, especially with one eye open, the coach.
That's really interesting. Thank you. Okay. What would you say is your biggest BCMG achievement?
I have never once been late.
I will hold you to that. Excellent. Always extremely early, in fact, and always, even though you're saying you're not a morning person, you're definitely incredibly sociable. If you've been getting up at 4:30 in the morning, that's credit to you. Absolutely. Okay. Tell us a highlight for you whilst you've been working with BCMG.
Yeah, there are a few, but I think we mentioned earlier this piece by Turnage called No Let Up. That for me was a fantastic memory. Again, I get being challenged by being surrounded by such incredible players. I think music and sport, they're analogies. I don't really like many of them for me, but one thing that I notice is I'm really bad at sport, right? But if I'm playing, say, tennis with someone better than me, I'm suddenly a lot better. And I think music's like that as well. You kind of you get pulled along, which is great. I don't know, I think people might relate to that at different areas of life, but that was a highlight, I think, the turnage.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, for my personal experience as well, I mean, thinking about when I was at school, actually, I totally that totally resonates with me, because I remember getting put into a band that I really shouldn't have been in. I wasn't at the standard of, but when you're playing alongside other people who've maybe been doing things that you are doing a bit longer than you have and have got a bit more experience, it really ups your game. So that's a really fantastic point. Thank you. This is like a slightly different wording of a question we've already had, but maybe have a think about this. So why do you enjoy working with BCMG?
I think a lot of the reason I enjoy working at BCMG is because I live in London, but I work in Birmingham, not just with BCMG, but also at the conservatoire. I teach saxophone there. And being part of BCMG helps me feel a bit more connected to Birmingham, and like I've got another home. And I know that's not really related to all the fantastic things that you do and the music that you make, but just for me personally, that's a really good feeling to feel like I'm not just going and teaching and leaving, but I'm going and teaching and I'm meeting people from all different, like all ages, all over, as what, you know, real people, musicians, everything. I think that's for me very interesting and good.
Brilliant. We've come to our last question, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry, we've blazed through those with fantastic responses. But I think this one's quite interesting. So what advice would you give to somebody who was looking to work with an arts organisation like BCMG? What advice would you provide them with?
Well, the first thing I thought was, yes, do it. You must do it. We need you. We need you now more than ever. And music is, you know, it's all over the world. It's everywhere. And if we can use it to make lives better on every level, then please do that.